Well, the president's trying to claim that an unelected official shouldn't be allowed. He's talking about Robert Mueller, be allowed to investigate him, but he's also stonewalling congressional committees which have a constitutional obligation to oversee the executive branch. By the way, in a Washington Post op-ed, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Elijah Cummings, a great man from Maryland, says the White House has refused to hand over any documents or produce any witnesses for interviews despite numerous requests. Chairman Cummings says it reflects a decision at the highest levels to deny congressional oversight altogether. So we're getting a two-face here. One, the president has let out all the information. On the other hand, he's denying any documents that could be useful to a report.
Well, and the president has long had a good cop, bad cop dynamic with his lawyers, which is he goes out in front of the cameras and he says, I'm on board with whatever you're doing. I'm going to play nice. I have nothing to hide. And then his attorneys zoom in and say, oh, no, you don't. We're not doing this. This was an issue in the John Dowd era when Trump said that he would be perfectly happy to sit down for an interview with Mueller. We all know that didn't happen, and it's not going to happen. And there have been other points in time when he's sort of made these expansive promises, and then his lawyers have said, yeah, he didn't mean that at all.
What happens to the subpoena power? I've been watching you guys get control of the House. You got control of the House. I thought the subpoena power came with it. Why can't you just demand this stuff?
Well, we may end up getting to that place. I mean, right now, what the president's doing is quite striking because all the former presidents from Obama through Bush have cooperated with requests for documents from the White House. And even we're getting basic cooperation from the rest of the administration. It's in the White House itself where the president seems to be
But Nixon, the Congress had a subpoena Nixon.
Yes. Well, you'd have to go back to Nixon to find a fight over an executive privilege. But this president seems to be saying, I'm not going to give you anything. I mean, that's quite extraordinary. That's astonishing. So he's raising the stakes very quickly in terms of House control over the constitutional oversight process. This is our duty.
This conversation with the president today is really striking because the president is saying it's not about rule by law. It's about who gets the most votes. Mueller didn't get any votes. I get 63 million. That's how he's talking. So he shouldn't be allowed to report on me. He's not allowed to issue a report. It's crazy talk. In other words, every act of a government by law has to be voted on. But by that definition, that Hillary Clinton, who has more votes than him coming out of this election, should investigate him. I mean, I've never heard anybody say you can't investigate me unless you got more votes than me. What is he talking about?
Well, first, it's an implicit endorsement of the congressional investigation since Democrats in the House got a whole bunch of votes. But second, it also highlights just a very poor understanding of the way law enforcement works. Law enforcement officials are insulated from voters on purpose. They aren't supposed to decide who to prosecute or who to investigate because they want to win elections that are coming up. And Trump's argument that somehow Mueller should be able to be impeached or voted out or should have to stump in Iowa in order to get authorization to work to enforce America's laws is just totally antithetical to the entire history of how law enforcement is supposed to work in this country and basic values when it comes to rules.
Well, luckily the people don't agree with Trump on this. A new Associated Press poll finds that a majority of Americans, a healthy one, 62% are confident that Mueller's investigation is being conducted fairly and impartially. 37%, that's a familiar number of Americans, say they're not confident. Sounds like the hardcore Trumpies.
Yes.
But 60-some% is impressive, 62.
I mean, they've run it by the book. There have been no leaks. That's why nobody has any idea, really, when the Mueller report is coming out. And they've had a lot of success in terms of the indictments, the prosecutions, the law enforcement material that's been turned over to other prosecutors, like in the Southern District of New York. And so people are impressed by the work they've done. And, of course, Betsy's point is right. At the federal level, we don't elect prosecutors. Some local prosecutors are elected district attorneys. But we have designed our process to keep partisan politics away from law enforcement. That's a basic fallacy that the president has been committing ever since he took office. He thinks that law enforcement reports to him and he can interfere in individual cases. It's really quite an extraordinary mistake he's made.
Well, I like what you said about we better be prepared for the 25th Amendment. Anyway, thank you for its execution. Thank you, U.S. Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland and Betsy Woodruff.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.